Hello students, welcome to yet another class on reproduction in organisms. कल हम लोगों ने इस क्लास में देखा था वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ रिप्रोडक्शंस। और सबसे पहले हमने बात की थी रिप्रोडक्शन क्या है और ऑर्गेनिज्म का लाइफ स्पेन क्या होता है। देन वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट types of reproduction. Asexual reproduction is one in which only one parent takes part and उसमें जो progeny बनती है that is called clone. Why it is called clone? Anybody if you can answer? Because the offsprings are exactly same. What do you mean by exactly same? It means genetically and morphologically similar to offsprings. They are also similar to their siblings. So the progeny of what? Asexual reproduction is called what? Clone. Today we'll move forward. In case of plants, see the asexual reproduction has been given one more name, that is vegetative reproduction. Asexual reproduction in animals is unequivocally, right? It is unequivocally used as asexual reproduction. But in case of plants, हम क्या करते हैं? वेजिटेटिव रिप्रोडक्शन एक नई टर्म यूज करते हैं. तो वेजिटेटिव रिप्रोडक्शन आज हम देखने वाले हैं. वेजिटेटिव रिप्रोडक्शन प्लांट्स में दो तरीके से होता है. नंबर वन इज बाय द एजेंसी ऑफ प्रोपेग्यूल्स एंड नंबर टू बाय द एजेंसी ऑफ सब एरियल मॉडिफिकेशन ऑफ स्टेम. राइट. सो लेट अस स्टार्ट विथ वेजिटेटिव प्रोपेग्यूल्स. प्लांट्स में बहुत सारे वेजिटेटिव प्रोपेग्यूल्स होते हैं. If you see this picture, see you are able to see a potato, you are able to see a ginger, you are able to see onion, a bulb of onion, you are able to see a leaf. So these four propagules we'll see here. तो सबसे पहले हम बात करते हैं vegetative propagule that is called tuber. Tuber is present in a potato, right? You already know that potato is a modified stem. It is modified underground stem. And इस potato पर हमें क्या दिखती हैं? We are able to see buds. Sometimes they are also known as eyes. So because potato is a underground stem, obviously it shall have nodes and internodes. On nodes of potato, you find small bud-like eyes. These are what? Buds. In favorable conditions, they are able to give rise to what? New plants. So tuber, vegetative reproduction by eyes present on tuber of potato. This is one example. Another one is rhizome. Rhizome is present in ginger. Plus, I should say, it is present in ginger and turmeric. Ginger and turmeric, again, they are modification of stem called rhizome. And if you see on a rhizome, this is rhizome of ginger, you are able to see what? These are nodes. And on nodes, you have scale leaves. You have scale leaves. And in the axil of each scale leaves, there is present a bud. That bud, when gets what? Favorable conditions, it shall germinate to produce a new shoot. So underground potato, underground rhizome, it's buried in the what? Ground. It is underground, and whenever favorable conditions come, see in unfavorable conditions, the upper part, the shoot dries up, but potato is present inside, ginger is present inside, turmeric is present inside. See, in agriculture, we dig them out. But in nature, what happens? These are propagules that plant prepares for themselves. And during favorable conditions, these propagules give rise to new plants, or we can say next generation. So, do you think the plants of generation 1 are exactly same with plants of generation 2? The answer is yes. Okay? Next. So here we have what? I should make a small vegetative bud for you here. In the axil of leaves present on nodes of underground stem, you have buds. These buds can give rise to new plants. Similarly, we have bulb. Bulb is there in case of onion. Bulb is there in case of onion, right? And this bulb is a reduced stem. If I draw, this is a reduced stem. This is stem. And above this stem, you find fleshy leaves. And in the axil of these fleshy leaves, you have what? Axillary buds. These axillary buds can give rise to new shoot. Of course, on this stem, you find dried roots. This is onion. Right? In case of leaf as vegetative propagule, see, you have adventitious buds. See, this is, the example is bryophyllum. Bryophyllum. Here you find, see, this is notch. Leaf has notch. See, if I draw a leaf, this is called a notch. In Hindi we call it a khanch. एक खांच बनी हुई है. And in the notch there is present an adventitious bud. See, adventitious buds. These adventitious buds, when the leaf falls on the ground and the ground provides what? Humidity, favorable temperature, favorable conditions for the bud to grow. Every adventitious bud can give rise to a new plant, right? So leaf as propagule, the example is bryophyllum, right? So these are various, these three are modification of what? Stem. This is leaf. All have vegetative propagules. Now let us see another way of vegetative propagation by subaerial stem. This is subaerial stem. Subaerial modification of stem. What do we mean by subaerial? See, there is a term called aerial stem. Another term we have is underground stem, like we have seen in tuber, we have seen in case of bulb, we have seen in case of rhizome. In between them is subaerial, means it is neither buried in the ground in the soil, neither it is aerial, but it is present on the surface of earth, right? That's why it is called subaerial. Now there are 4 subaerial modification of stems that are utilized by plants to produce what? To perform vegetative reproduction. The very first is runners. See, this is runner. Can you recognize it? This is what? This is a picture of grass. It is present in, runners are present in grass. So what runners actually are? See, this is a node. This is a node, right? This is again a node. What happens? Stem growth, internode grows from this node and it spreads horizontally, right? It spreads horizontally, and on the tip of this branch, this internode, what happens? Root arise downwards and leaves arise above the ground. So this portion, right, is called a runner. This is runner. Now you can ask, I should ask rather, how a gardener makes a lawn? He brings what? He brings grasses from other land, right? और वो क्या करता है? वो जमीन को थोड़ा थोड़ा खोदता है और वहां ग्रास को डाल देता है ना? At a distance, right? On distance पे डालता है तो क्या होता है? जब डिस्टेंस पे ग्रास है और सारी ग्रासेस में से क्या निकलते हैं? ऐसे रनर्स निकलते हैं. एक पोर्शन, दूसरा पोर्शन, तीसरा पोर्शन, क्या होता है? 360 के एंगल पे कहीं से भी क्या निकल सकता है? एक रनर निकल सकता है. इट ग्रोज हॉरिजॉन्टली, राइट? एंड हॉरिजॉन्टली थोड़ा ग्रो करने के बाद क्या होता है? ऑन द लोअर पोर्शन ऑफ इट व्हाट हैपेंस? Roots are formed and above there is formation of green leaves. So in a shorter span of time, सब तरह से सब तरफ से क्या निकल रहे हैं, इसके रनर्स निकल रहे हैं, एंड रनर्स क्या कर रहे हैं, आगे जाके नीचे रूट्स बना रहे हैं और ऊपर जाके क्या, ऊपर लीव्स बना रहे हैं. तो क्या हो रहा है, विद इन अ शॉर्ट स्पैन ऑफ टाइम जो डिस्टेंस पे ग्रास गार्डनर ने डाली है वो क्या हो जाती है, दैट इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू अ लॉन. राइट, दिस इज द वे. This is the way. If you have not observed, observe it in your surroundings. You will find. Yes, you will find it. So, runners is an example of, grasses. In grass, runners are there. Another example I should give you is a plant, oxalis. In oxalis as well, you have runners. In a pteridophyte called Marsilia, you have what? Runners. So various plants, across various divisions of plant kingdom have adopted what, this method of vegetative reproduction. See, it's a kind of asexual reproduction. Why? Because only a single parent is taking part. Now let us talk about second subaerial stem modification, that is stolon. Now in stolon, see, stolons, I should say it should be given the name arced runners. These are arced runners. See, while a runner is horizontal, it's straight more or less, but in case of stolons, they are arced. See, they are making an arc. How come this arc is being made? See, the node, this is node. From node, a branch, internode is growing. It is coming above the ground. It is slightly coming above the ground. And later, what? It is bending downwards. ऊपर आई है, फिर arc बनाती हुई वापस नीचे जा रही है. When it touches the ground, what happens? The lower portion gives rise to roots and the upper portion gives rise to what? Leaves. So this is arc. Here you would find a new stolon is being made. Again, what happened? What shall happen? This shall bend down and here it will give rise to roots and above it shall make what? Leaves. So these are stolons. So stolon and runners, how are they different from each other? Stolon is horizontal. Runner is horizontal. But stolon is arced. And the example for stolon is, I should say, Mentha. Mentha piperata, if you have heard about. Mentha piperata. Right? Yeah, there could be several other examples, but let us remember this one, Mentha piperata. Now, what about suckers? Number 3 is suckers. See, these are suckers. Suckers. Suckers arise from underground stem and they move. First they proceed horizontally and later they move upward. Right? And on the lower portion of this upward growing branch, there is formation of adventitious roots, and above the ground there is formation of aerial shoot. Right? So it is different from stolon. In the case, stolon is arced runner, but sucker is what? Sucker grows horizontally first and it comes out and grows above. Right? Suckers. An example for suckers is chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum, pineapple. These two examples, or banana as well. These are examples of suckers. What are offsets then? See, offsets are runners, we can say, present in aquatic plants. Offsets are present in aquatic plants. And aquatic plants are, see, the most common aquatic plant that bears offset is Eichhornia. or the common name is water hyacinth. It is also known as terror of Bengal. See, this is offset. This is offset. This is an aquatic plant. You know why it is known as terror of Bengal? Eichhornia, its botanical name. Why it is called terror of Bengal? See, it was introduced by Britishers in the ponds and lakes of British India in Calcutta, right? And because of presence of offset, what happens? It grows very fast. It covers the entire surface of the water body. What happens? Light is unable to reach the bottom of the pond and the aquatic life that is destroyed by this weed. So it was given the name terror of Bengal. It absorbs all the dissolved oxygen present in the water body, and the aquatic life that includes what? Fishes and other animals. They are unable to get the dissolved oxygen, and you know that without dissolved oxygen in the pond, the aquatic fishes or other organisms shall die. So this is offset which is present in what? Aquatic plants. It's like runners. Runners is present in terrestrial plants like grass, Cynodon, Oxalis, Marsilia, but offsets are present in aquatic plants, and Eichhornia is one such example. See, this is offset. What happens? The way runners spread in all the directions in terrestrial plants, offset spreads in all the directions in the aquatic plant called Eichhornia. Pistia is another example. So what is happening? This is aerial leaves. This is submerged roots. So the plant is growing on the surface of the water body, and it is giving rise to what? Offset in all the directions. And what happens? There's a formation of tuft of leaves and what? Tuft of adventitious roots in the water. So there is very early propagation of what? The plant in the water body. What happens if I tell you these all the runners, stolons and suckers, if this is broken, see, a new plant is made. If this is broken, a new plant is made. If this is broken, a new plant is made. This is broken from where? From, it is separated, rather I should say it is separated from a mother plant, and it makes a altogether new plant. Similarly here also, if this offset breaks and this Eichhornia, it breaks here, and this Eichhornia plant is taken to some other water body, what shall happen? It shall again produce n number of offsets, and very early it will cover the pond. So these are what? These are vegetative propagules by which what? Plants are able to perform vegetative reproduction. So here we conclude what? Here we conclude asexual reproduction. Now let us take sexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? See, if you have understood the asexual reproduction, you are able to speak about what? Sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction has single parent, but sexual reproduction in which instead of one, two parents of opposite sex take part. And how do they take part? By contributing gametes. See, you already know the male gamete is known as sperm in case of animals, or it could be known as, it could be called antherozoids in case of lower plants, but a common term is male gamete. Similarly, what? A female gamete is known as egg or the ovum, right? So they take part by contributing gametes. Now, another thing that you must know about sexual reproduction is it brings about variations. See, sexual reproduction brings what? Variations in whom? In offsprings, or I can say progeny. So the individuals that are having same parents, आप देखते हो अपने भाई बहन में क्या होता है, डिफरेंस होता है, हम सबके पेरेंट्स सेम है बट वी आर डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर टू अ वेरी लार्ज एक्सटेंट. कुछ शक्ल मिल सकती है लेकिन क्या होता है इन मोस्ट केसेस you are very much different from each other. So sexual reproduction is reproduction in which two parents of opposite sex, they contribute gametes and they give rise to a new organism, right, similar to them, not identical to them, because it involves sexual reproduction involves what? It brings about variations among the progeny, and that is why in spite of having same parents, we all 2, 3, 4, 5 siblings are different from each other. Now, sexual reproduction is performed by all organisms. Of course, in lower organisms, in kingdom what? Monera. In kingdom Monera, there is sexual recombination. Instead of what? Sexual reproduction, they have sexual recombination. Right? So Monera is not having what? True sexual reproduction. No true sexual reproduction. But they have what? Sexual recombination in Monera. You know, in Monera there is bacteria, there is blue-green algae, mycoplasma. So you would not have heard about sexual reproduction present in bacteria, but they perform some sexual recombination, right? And one method is conjugation, another is transformation. You must have heard about it. But except Monera, Protista, right? Then fungi, then plants, and then animals. Now, yesterday we talked about lower plants and lower animals. They are able to perform asexual reproduction as well. But higher plants like angiosperms, most of gymno and angiosperms, plus what? All higher animals, they reproduce only by means of sexual reproduction, right? You know, you will not find any kind of asexual reproduction in case of angiosperms or gymnosperms. They would undergo only and only what? Seed formation by the agency of sexual reproduction. In case of animals as well, human beings, all mammals, and below mammals we have a class called aves that have birds. Below aves we have reptiles, in which snakes and lizards are included. Fishes, frogs and amphibians, they all undergo what? Sexual reproduction, right? So this discrimination there should be there in your mind कि कौन से organisms sexual और asexual दोनों मेथड से रिप्रोडक्शन करते हैं एंड कौन से केवल सेक्सुअल मेथड से रिप्रोडक्शन करते हैं. So I hope you have clear idea about sexual and asexual reproduction. We have sexual reproduction have various steps in what? Sexual reproduction. See, basically three steps are there. Three steps are there, and the central event, central step is called fertilization. Fertilization, जहां क्या होता है, a male gamete, right, fuses with a female gamete. This process is known as fertilization. Sometimes it has also been given the name syngamy. So this is one step, and this is the central step. Central means बीच में आता है step. And before that, we have pre-fertilization events. Pre-fertilization events. And after fertilization, we have post-fertilization events. So the overall three steps are: number one, pre-fertilization events; second, we have fertilization; and thirdly, we have post-fertilization events. For the sake of convenience, both pre-fertilization and post-fertilization events, they have been divided into two parts. Here, number one is gametogenesis. What is gametogenesis? It is formation of gametes, that is sperms by males in testes and egg by females in ovaries, right? In case of animals. If we talk about plants, same events occur in plants as well as human beings. So gametes तो बनते ही हैं plants में भी. तो plants में कहाँ gametes बनते हैं? That we shall see in plant reproduction, details in plant reproduction. Animals में कहाँ बनते हैं? The most common name given to what? Male gamete is sperm. तो sperm कहाँ बनता है? Testes में. Now gametes and दो gametes, gametogenesis, I'm writing sperm is what? A male gamete, and egg is what? A female gamete. Now these are produced at different places. अलग अलग जगह पे बनते हैं. एक मेल में बनता है, एक फीमेल में बनता है. तो फर्टिलाइजेशन के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? वी शैल हैव टू ब्रिंग देम टुगेदर. इन दोनों को लाना पड़ेगा साथ में. तो फर्टिलाइजेशन आप देखेंगे कुछ में कहां होता है? एक्सटर्नल फर्टिलाइजेशन होता है, मींस बाहर होता है बॉडी के. लेकिन कुछ में इंटरनल फर्टिलाइजेशन होता है. इंटरनल कहां? फीमेल के जेनाइटल ट्रैक्ट में. तो क्या करना है हमें? वी शैल हैव टू ब्रिंग दीज टू what? Gametes together. If they are meeting, then only this fertilization shall take place. तो क्या किया जाता है? गैमीट को ट्रांसफर किया जाता है. So the pre-fertilization event one is gametogenesis, that is formation of gametes, and followed by gametogenesis it is transfer of gametes. See, in males, sperms are produced inside their body, and the fertilization takes place in the body of the female. So what? Gamete has to be, sperm has to be transferred inside the genital tract of female. So this process is known as gamete transfer or transfer of gamete. कहां पे ट्रांसफर किया जाता है? At the site of fertilization. In case of plants, if we say, in case of plants, आप देखते हैं pollen grain जो होता है, that germinates on the stigma, and the pollen tube is made. That pollen tube carries two male gametes towards what? Ovule. Now, once these two gametes, male and female gamete, they meet together, right? Male gamete, female gamete, they meet and they fuse together to make zygote. So after fertilization, the first event is what? Zygote formation. See, all human beings or all animals, they have started their life with a single cell called zygote. हम सबने अपनी लाइफ एक zygote से स्टार्ट की है. कहां? In the body of our mother, right? We all mammals have started our life as a single cell zygote. This zygote gives rise to what? Embryo. We call it embryogenesis or embryo formation, it could be called. So these are the three basic events. Later, two of them have been divided into what? Two additional steps. So in all, there are 5 steps. Let us recapitulate them. Number 1 is gametogenesis. Number 2 is transfer of gamete. Number 3 is fertilization. Number 4 is zygote formation. And number 5 is embryogenesis. So in coming class, we shall see what are the events in gametogenesis and how gametes are transferred, right? So thank you for now.